kind of a given, but don't forget there's also a Hilda on the side of Omega to try to keep that early game in check.
Was Esmeralda picked even once last season? No, right?
I will have to check.
It feels like it's a no, but
Yeah.
either way, if it happened maybe just once. Right now, though, let's load up into game number 1. This is Omega versus Aurora. Don't
Welcome
forget,
to Mobile
playoff spots at
Legends.
stake for Omega, and the upper bracket, Aurora's still fighting for it.
Okay. See how they're going to start on the map? Hilda versus an Esmeralda. So the Da sisters going up against each other in lane instead of being paired up together. During the heyday, we used to see Hilda Matilda, Hilda Rome, XP Esme. It's pretty cool. I think should be able to handle it well. All right, this is exactly what we were talking about with Rena J and Yuen when they have the juice in together and they put so much importance in the first duel in lane that if they can do what they did to Akir, bring him down low, force him to recall, force out the flicker, this is just gonna snowball and this is them non-stop gonna be so aggressive.
Yeah. Huge delay for Okir. Wasn't able to get a couple of minions there, even forced out the flicker. So now Aurora's going to have a good time in trying to go for those clashes, but a good setup coming in from Super Yoshi. Andori's not going to overcommit though.
Yeah, loving the aggression here as well for Aurora. Of course, Omega will not take that lying down. Super Yoshi will probably have to wait until level 4, obviously, before anything big will happen. But they do have that presence. They have that damage. Force is still very powerful on the mid right now.
Yeah, Omega will need to commit resources to helping Luis out in lane because every time Hilda goes into a shrub, that's how she sustains lane. She heals, but she gets shield, which Esmeralda's happy to steal.
And now they get Super Yoshi. First blood drawn by Yue. Ren J just being able to out-sustain the damage coming in from Omega. Now Demon Kite might try to go for more, but they're already happy with a kill on to Super Yoshi.
Was this not in the Omega scouting report that if you're going up against the Juicin and Aurora, they will look to be hyper aggro? The fact that Ukir even was already forced to burn his flicker early on meant they did something wrong at the start of the game, and then now, whoa, Edward!
Oh, look at that.
And they're trying to do something
So
right
much
by
shield.
trying to go for Edward, but the shields and the counter response from Aurora is just there once again. There was the Lantern Flare. Super Yoshi might go for another escape, but Yui goes in with the Lantern Crimson Beacon as well to bring him down.
Really sustaining these fights very, very well. Edward holding the line, absorbing so many of the shields here, keeping Aurora ahead.
Yeah, brilliant pick, brilliant rotation, everything perfect! Oh my god! Hitman, what?
The Hitman went in! Asked Andoryu, are you sure you're gonna recall in front of me? Pulls the trigger, brings him down, but in exchange for his life, a 1-for-1 trade, clearly beneficial for Aurora.
It did slow down Andoryu's pathing a little bit as well. Needs a little bit of a backup here for Yoshi. Gets started on that orange again. But this is as good of a start as you can get for Aurora. Don't forget, Dominkite is also on that carry. Has not really seen any major changes, any major fights. And they are happy. They look like they're very happy with this.
Andoryu's gonna have nightmares about that Raging Sandstorm flicker from Renegade. He thought he was in the safe space, but the Hitman doing unexpected things once again to increase Aurora's lead.
Yeah, I like the build path of Edward, steel leg plates, and then he's going to be going to Enchanted Talisman. Let's see if he's going to full build the Dom Eyes first. I know it no longer provides mana, but it still does good against the lineup of Omega. Although, you wouldn't want to reduce the shield generation of Omega because you steal it anyway. So you just build the plates, the steel leg plates. Yeah, you full build Talisman first if you're the Esmeralda.
That's right. You just try to slow down the damage of the attackers as well with Anti-Karas maybe, right?
Yeah.
That's basically it. That's all you have to do. Now, they do feel like they are suffering from an identity crisis here. Omega being forced back into their own jungles as Aurora gets ready and set up for turtle number 2.
Yeah, we still can't count out the fact of Omega's comeback potential. Again, Jom still able to hold his own on the gold lane, but Aurora set their eyes on this turtle. Here comes the Lantern Flare. There was a flicker. Renegade goes after the back with the Raging Sandstorm. Ukir was able to cast a Feathered Airstrike. They're trying to go for Jom, but Jom was able to escape. They do, however, pick up Super Yoshi and brings him down once again up against 5. Aurora is literally dominating.
Yeah, Yoshi missed his entry bad. Flicker with the fist break into air. And Omega was just scrambled in that fight. It was a perfect lineup but it just missed by a hair. Very unfortunate for Super Yoshi. The idea was there, the idea was right, the execution was off.
All right, even the position was right.
Yeah.
It was already perfect. I also saw Ukir land all 4 feathered airstrike shots. The HP bars were more than 70%.
Oh, Edward up against 5. If he stays alive, it's going to be amazing. But Omega wanted to go for that trade, and they're going to bring down Edward.
That's what you were talking about, right, Renmar? Like, the burstiness from the Harif is still somewhere there.
Yeah, still there. It's not as bad as it used to be, but it's still definitely there. So Omega made the right call. They switched the lane, sent Jome down bottom, and they were able to crack it together as a team. They sacrificed the top, so it was a map trade, a mirror trade across the map for both. So Omega's still making the right calls. They will be able to take their purple buff without a problem. They should just now change their focus to playing around Jome, send Andoryu off alone to split open the map. He can go down because at this point, the Hayabusa isn't the condition anymore. It's the Harith.
That's right. We're talking about how Jome needs to kind of just step up here.
Yeah.
And he is kind of doing it in the ways that he knows how, or at least the ways that Aurora is allowing him to. The rest of the team really helping it out though as well. Luis, great scouting. Andoryu just making sure that Aurora just can't invade willy-nilly.
Yeah, and it's so nice for Omega that they're able to call plays that aren't really dependent on what Aurora is doing. They're not necessarily reactive, but they might have to react to what Yue is doing now, forcing out Lewis to back off as the third turtle will be spawning down bottom. Let's see if Omega's gonna try and go for a pickoff.
Yeah, we're gonna have to look for a big pickoff before they get started. For sure, they are on the back foot. Looking at that turret, trying to keep it alive still. Luis and Super Yoshi is in front. It's gonna be such a crucial engagement here.
Aurora knows where every single barangay member is hiding. Renegade just looking for the perfect opportunity to zone out Jome and Ukir. And that was just a flawless play from Aurora. Didn't give Omega a chance to look at the turtle.
Just split the map. you cannot full engage at this point. You could have pushed top. You could have broken the tower, sent 2, put 3 around the turtle just to get vision, but to not really contest.
Yeah, there's a lot of free time on top lane that they could have actually used there, right?
Yeah, now will they get it? No, they still, oh yeah, they should. They should be able to get it, but still, that could have come much sooner, but...
Another flicker used by Ukir here. What the heck is happening to Omega here?
Even Andoryu already used up the Wiki Shadow kills onto the bottom lane just to try and save the bottom lane turret, but they're not making plays. We're just literally waiting for the barangay timers to be activated once again. And now a potential back play coming in from Yoshi has been spotted out by Demon Kite and Edward.
Okay. See how else Omega will try to find the right angle. While Aurora just continue to make the map blue, steal resources. They've snowballed, they've taken their early game condition, and they can just continue doing this. The lead continues to balloon. It was 4K around 2 minutes ago. It's getting closer to 6.
Wow. And again, the Falling Star Moon lands back and landed on. Last pick was Edward.
Yep.
Really? That's season 13. It was him again. All right. So that is very interesting. Edward is the Esmeralda guy, apparently.
You can say a vintage pick.
Yeah, the vintage pick. Used to be in every
Edward.
game, by the way.
Yeah.
Way back then.
Well, to be fair, Edward's been playing for a very long time. Already has a lot of XP laners use.
That's true.
So another one to remind us that Edward is a good Esmeralda player, but Aurora right now extending their lead to 6K, 7 seconds before the Lord spawns. Let's see if Omega manages to find one. Jome. Okay, he got left behind, but was able to out Renegade. And the Hitman is going to fall down. Jome still manages to stay alive as Edward soaking up the damage of Falling Star Moon. Connecting onto 3, brings down Yoshi.
Unfortunate, again, another unfortunate miss by Super Yoshi. Jome able to escape, but it becomes a roamer for roamer trade. It could have been way worse for Omega, but they have to accept that they will lose this Lord.
That was painful to see here. Flying into the air. Apparently, it's just so difficult to actually land that wall sometimes, right? And Super Yoshi just not having the right angles so far. Omega, I was actually surprised they were going to go for that engagement. And I think Aurora was a little surprised as well. But they weren't really able to capitalize on that opportunity.
Yeah, it's literally because Renegade locked his eyes on Jome committed a lot just to zone out Jong. Even for the exchange of his life, it was okay for Aurora because at the same time, Edward still had crowd control. Was able to set up 3 against Omega and eventually get the kill on Super Yoshi.
Looking at the items, Esmeralda did go for sustained cooldown reduction. Good old Enchanted Talisman and Oracle. Andori goes in.
Biggie Shadow kill. Not going to be enough, though, to bring down Dominkite. There was 4 members of Aurora to share the damage.
Look at Dominkite, very healthy with the items right now. Corrosion Scythe, DHS, Golden Staff, and even a Magic Blade to give him a little bit more sustainability from the magic damage dished out by Ukir.
All you need to do is technically just stay alive as Dominkite. You're golden.
Yeah.
Right, they're just waiting for that Lord, waiting for the top lane to push as well. There's Renegade. It's looking for an engagement, don't forget. Doesn't have Flicker, 15 seconds out.
Holy Shields pop down bottom, and Omega makes quick work of that Lord. Still alive in this game. If they manage to find a huge angle set up by Super Yoshi to catch Aurora by surprise, they can replicate what they did against Twisted Minds yesterday.
Okay. Oh, Omega's comeback here has to come from an error of Aurora. Unless Andoryu goes in, somehow finds a really good angle to shadow kill into the back, somehow bring Dominkite and or US so low that it forces Aurora to react and Omega will go there. So they'll either do it from punish or from Andoryu, just somehow getting a very good ultimate at the right time.
Okay. Edward,
oh my
Star
God,
everything
yikes.
Connecting the evil Queller to finish off Andoryu. And now if you're Andoryu, how are you going to pull off a solo Wiki Shadow kill when Dominkite is literally surrounded by 4 bodies?
Yeah, and Edward, there's just no fighting Edward now.
Yep.
You can't 1v1, 2v1 this guy. It is so crazy how big this Esmeralda has gotten here. And don't forget, you also have to worry about so many others, like Dominkite. You have to worry about Demon Kite, and Yue just Crimson Beaconing over your head. It's such a difficult lineup to face, especially when it's 1v1, 2v2.
Yeah, unfortunate for Omega is that the Esmeralda pick came in here where Esmeralda beats the Hilda. You'd need longer sustained damage, but the Harith now is once again soft. If you want to consider it a soft counter, maybe a hard counter, but let's just put it as countered by the Esmeralda, that even though Jom hasn't died here, Edward's just so happy, which means Yue and Dominkite are even happier because they don't have to worry about their front line crumbling.
Look at the map, though. They're trying to make a wraparound happen.
Okay,
I
let's
don't
see.
think it's going to work, though.
Let's see if it's going to connect us so far. Super Yoshi's been not hitting the mark, but Yue was able to just flicker out. No more initiation for Omega. Goes in with a Crimson Beacon and Lantern Flare and punishes Super Yoshi. Aurora picks up one more.
At least they tried. They tried to make something happen. It's unfortunate that Yue was doing his job. He was holding the right shrub. Super Yoshi just thought, oh, I'm gonna try, let's try to commit something, but just nothing came out of it.
Do the emote, do the emote.
What's the emote?
Nice.
Nice try.
Nice try.
Sorry, there's a lot of emotes.
That was the perfect. That was the
Nice
perfect
try.
time to do it. They didn't do it. Aurora's sticking to their guns here, and obviously, they are having a lot of fun. 12K gold lead. Man.
This is more than a stomp at this point. This is I don't know any other words more than stomp. A stomping.
The stomping.
They're hoofened. Oh, they don't have hooves. It's not a liquid
They're
game.
behooved. There you go.
Behooved. They're straight up busted, bro.
All right. The big question on Omega's minds right now, how do we deal with that front line? It's too crazy. Renegade is always a threat. And they're just going in. They're making it happen right now.
Yeah, every single one of them threatening Omega. Bottom turret will fall down. They still have the Lord. Omega just has to worry about that. Renegade has his flicker ready. Can initiate at any given moment, but they're going to wait for the minions up top and onto the middle lane. Super Yoshi waiting for the perfect opportunity for the fist break, fist crack combination, but the falling Star Moon connects onto 4, and they bring down the inhibitor turret in the middle lane.
That put Luis in half, as well as Ukir and Andoryu. That is not a joke.
Feathered Airstrike already used up, but Renegade counters out with his ultimate, and now they manage to get Super Yoshi. Edward again with the falling Star Moon to zone out Lewis. They have minions and Dominkite just trying to deliver the damage onto the turret. Omega was able to clear it out, but Aurora has a fat wave of minions in the middle lane.
They're just going for it. I don't think there's any stopping them right now, even tanking up that turret damage. And Edwards on the front!
Another beautiful setup for the Northern Lights to see the